FA Cup weekend, North and South. Plymouth with the biggest shock of the weekend until roughly an hour and a half later. Fuck. Both of us progressing though. Lovely distraction from the league from Cardiff, and normality resumes. And treble. Play the intro, Morg.
Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to episode 19 of season 4 of the Football Booth podcast. My name is Fen. Alongside me, I've got a very joyful, very happy indeed Mayhem. How are we doing, my good man?
I'm good, mate. I found myself jamming all day long and all night long to a certain "Hey you with the sad face,
come on to my place
and
live it up."
If you know, you know. Don't ever let them forget it. Yeah, mate, it's been good. I imagine there could be one or two comments on this pod calling me obsessed. It's a Celtic podcast, man. Come on, piss off, you idiot. Shut your mouth, mate. Shut your fucking mouth. We are 100% going to laugh at you.
Well, you'll go to a Rangers podcast, if anything.
Fucking, yeah. Well, I imagine they're all in hiding.
They probably are, yeah. That always tends to happen after a rather humiliating result. I mean, there's humiliating, then there's Queen's Park bad.
The last time there was that kind of booing around Ibrox, I think Aberdeen was singing Lizzie's in a Box. Ironically, both of them to do with Queens. Who knew?
Is it too early to cut it? We are on fire this evening. Well, it was FA Cup weekend and Scottish Cup weekend, and I mean, how can we describe the FA Cup? Well, it's the oldest national cup competition in the world, and I
honestly think see the English FA Cup. It's really the only English competition that I care about, more so in the earlier stages, just because you can get such great storylines, and obviously then as it develops on, it's become a little bit more vanilla. Both of the semi-finals are played at Wembley instead of before it would have been that
Old
Villa
Trafford
Park
or Villa Park, yeah, Anfield maybe perhaps.
Yeah, so I think it's lost a wee bit of originality from moving away from that, but I just think it's so organic. And do you know what? See, watching games where you don't have to fucking worry about that prick with a video is going to get involved and try ruling a goal out. It shouldn't be coming in the next round. Right? The FA Cup should just say we don't have VAR and let that be final.
Yeah, just some old-fashioned football, yeah, just creeping back in.
They bring it in the fifth round because they expect by that point all the big teams.
Yeah, of course.
But Plymouth, if they get drawn at home, they're not going to have a facility for VAR. So how's that fair? I don't know about yourselves. I don't know if you.
Maybe David Coote will come back into play. He's just got a little video camera in the corner or something. I don't know. No, this is the thing, because there's still a few Championship clubs left in it, like ourselves, Plymouth, Millwall, Burnley.
Yeah, and obviously you've got Doncaster that are playing Crystal Palace tonight, and then Exeter that play Nottingham Forest tomorrow. So if there was to be further shocks, then you could have a substantial amount of teams. I think Burnley would have the facilities to do it because of how recently they've been in the
Premier League. Last season.
But I think Preston are probably another one.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it would be nice for them to say, look, we're just not going to have it. Maybe bring it in the semi-finals or final if you're going to bring it in at all, because obviously then it's at Wembley and everybody can utilise it, but still.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we will go over all the FA Cup action, and of course we will, as we are recording right now, give you a live reaction to the fifth round draw, which will be coming very, very shortly. But let's kick off with the boys in green. You've been in action twice over the last week. 11 goals in 2 games, kicking off on Wednesday night, 6-0 at home to Dundee, moving you 13 points clear, I believe.
Yep.
And then in cup action over the weekend, and a 5-0 result. Des Maeda hat-trick. At least one Glasgow team made it through to the next round. Share your thoughts, Mayhem.
Yeah, I think it's gone about as well as it could have gone. I think the only thing that's been a real negative on the last week or so is Celtic TV. I mean, what a disgraceful streaming service. Sort your fucking lives out.
Oh, is it
Um,
Paul? Is it?
it's awful. It's utterly fucking disgusting. Um, but yeah, I mean, Dundee, it clicked. Daisa Maeda, was a real shout for Player of the Year. This guy has turned a corner.
Having a
Um,
season, isn't he?
and I mean, I think there's even an argument that he suits a striker role just so much. Obviously, when we signed him as a striker, and then he's gradually gone back out to the left hand side, and he's obviously been incredibly effective for us from that position. But even seeing him against Raith, and seeing some of the quality of finishes that he's had, while being utilised in that central role, I just think he's been phenomenal. More so than he had been for the rest of the season, and he's been superb up until this point. But the last week, some of the finishes have just been beautiful, and against Ray, some really cultured finishes. Took him like a man, banging form, and like a striker. And I think we've always kind of said, Dazen maybe struggles a wee bit when he's got to think about it, and everything's kind of come at him. It's been really natural and organic, and he's produced some wonderful moments. But yeah, look, starting with Dundee, I thought Arnie Engels had a really good game as well. Just unfortunate that Dazen was playing as well as he was, or otherwise, he could be someone that was well up in the plaudits. But I thought he had another fantastic game. Really starting to grow into that role, and I think we'll probably see the best of him towards the back end of this season and going into next season as Brendan kind of molds him into the player that he wants. But yeah, got the penalty. Arnie Engels obviously been listening to Joe Hart and the commentators from the Champions League because he's ditched the stutter, just run up, smashed it straight in the bottom corner, and obviously once you get those early goals against someone like Dundee, that's obviously going to want to sit and frustrate, then it opens the game up for you massively. And it would just become free flowing. Obviously, it was Jota's return back to paradise, and he managed to get himself an assist. Could have maybe scored as well, and he had that follow up for Adamida's goal that was blocked, and then Adamida swung on it and converted it. Nice to see Adamida scoring goals as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think he really had to, because the way that Maeda is, I think there's a real argument that once Jota gets back up to speed, is our best front three Jota, Maeda through the middle, and Kuhn. So I think Adamida's got a real job now to score as many goals as he possibly can. And he bags another one. It comes back to him after, like I said, after Jota's hit it and it's ricocheted to him, and he slams it into the roof of the net. And then Jota curls onto the back post. Maeda gets in, and Arnie Engels hits one that kind of deflects and loops up, and then Nicholas Kuhn comes off the bench and rattles in the sixth just to say, hey, don't you be forgetting about me. And he's obviously been superb as well. And I think up until this point, Maeda and him were neck and neck. I just think past this last week, I think Maeda's slightly gone out in front with his performances in terms of Player of the Year, but we've seen the quality that Nicholas has, and I'm sure he can pull it back across the back end of the season. But yeah, that put us 13 points clear again. Really impressive professional display to open that gap up again, and give us the freedom going into the into the Scottish Cup. Obviously, Jeffrey Schlupp come on in the Dundee game, made his debut off the bench, and was again playing against Raith, where we did make a few changes as expected.
Yeah, of course.
Nicholas Kuhn come in from the start. Yang was in. Luke McCowan was back in the team. Liam Scales, that at one point got the armband. Tony Ralston at right back, and Sincelo. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but
The Finnish goalkeeper.
yeah, I think that was
Yeah,
his debut. To be honest, I might be wrong.
you might be right though at the same time, because I honestly can't recollect any other game in this season that he's started or even featured.
Good to see him in. Good to see him in. Though obviously, Brendan obviously brought in for a reason, to be that understudy, to come in to learn off a Caspar. And good to see that he believes in him enough here to to play in the cup, which is, I think it's important in these games to build confidence. I would like to have seen him introduced earlier, but I understand some of the ties, maybe looked a little bit more tricky, so we had to navigate them properly. So I'm glad he got his minutes in and yeah, keeps a clean sheet. Didn't have a great deal to do, but keeps a clean sheet. And yeah, Maeda picks up where he's left off in the Raith game, bagging goals. Um, Unfortunately, like I said, my viewing and my intake on it was very limited to the highlights. It was very difficult to watch due to Celtic TV being an absolute joke of a.
Has this been the case all season, or has it just been the last week or so?
I mean, it's never been great, but yeah, the last week has been utterly honking. You flick it on, it just says the event's about to start, and you're like, no, mate, it's started.
Oh, that bad.
Yeah, and then obviously, unless you're a multi-millionaire and Celtic play behind fucking three paywalls of Premier Sports and Sky Sports, and if you're outside of the UK, then I mean Celtic TV actually try and charge people, which is disgusting. If you're getting charged for that, I mean, not that
How
I
much
don't.
do they charge for like a season pass?
I don't know, mate. I think it's about 13 quid a month. I might be wrong.
£13 a month. Okay.
Um, but yeah, what a honking thing. So a lot of my intake of the game was obviously, reading up, watching highlights, extended highlights back, and so it'd be difficult to really grade anyone or really break down much of the game like we normally do because I didn't get to take in the full 90 minutes. But ultimately, I don't think people come here for our tactical analysis. I think it's probably better podcasts out there, match going podcasters that potentially break it down. They just come here for our lovely witty charms and a little bit of insight and opinion. There is something that I want to caveat before we move off of this. We sat here last week on deadline day, and I give the window a 6 out of 10 because I assumed
5 out of 10, wasn't it?
was it a 5?
I
Did
think it was a 5 you gave it, yeah.
Okay, 5 because I assumed in my utter fucking ignorance that we would sign a striker. Right. I still have a soft spot for Adamida. I'm glad he started scoring goals. Obviously, Maeda's come in and filled a void. But to not sign a striker, just to caveat this, that means you get 3 out of 10. You didn't get Tierney over the line, and don't tell me that Arsenal were playing that hardball because he's not fucking playing. So they couldn't be playing that much hardball. We didn't get Tierney over the line. Yes, we got Jota back. You sold Kyogo, and you didn't bring in a striker.
Yeah.
Now, and my caveat again was, I don't care what striker was coming in. We were linked with the likes of Danny Ings, and I was like, yeah, that's all right, because I imagine Adam Ida's going to be our vocal point, and this is going to be the rotation, and that's fine, in my opinion. That's grand, and I know that is a hostile opinion, trust me, among a lot of Celtic fans. So I was already giving you the leeway there of saying, I understand that as we build towards the summer, realistically with 2 more games in Europe, and there against Bayern Munich, doesn't really matter at this point who we have up top. It's going to be very fucking difficult. But to not sign anyone and to risk the domestic dominance that we obviously now become super favourites for because Queen of the South, but to risk that, absolute fucking shambles. So downgraded to a 3. Fuck you, Peter Laurel. But overall,
But highly agree. Highly agree. I think, criminal to not do business on deadline day, especially with Kyogo leaving for Rennes to not find a replacement and for there to be at least, just some depth in the department because, like you said, with Celtic being in every domestic performance and still competing in Europe, like the schedule's going to be, it's going to be hefty and
we're an Adam Meader injury away from either again playing Meader through the middle or having John Joe Kenny as our starting striker.
John Joe
Which,
Kenny. You know what? He was on the bench. I went, that's not John Joe Kenny, is it?
uh, look, and again, I understand the position that we're in is a very strong one.
Could have got Yaku, mate. We would have let him go.
I think I would prefer John Joe Kenny, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, obviously the door's now been absolutely slammed wide open for a domestic treble. As of yet, I haven't heard any news about wee Phil, so I guess they're going to stick with him. Fucking happy days.
Oh, Philip.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about Cardiff before we get onto the laughing fit of their testimonial captain. Say captain twice there, it's great words.
Yeah.
Missing a penalty. This fucking
Talk about shit in the bed, though.
I think there may be more Celtic fans at his testimonial than Rangers fans celebrating his career, to be honest. The Green Brigade and the boys might buy the away end out. It may be like a fucking derby, man.
I mean, just let it sink in, right? Queen's Park have completely shut Rangers out from winning anything this
Queen's
year.
Park Rangers are a side that play in the Championship and have probably 10 times the budget of Queen of the South, mate. Like, it
Is it Queen of the South or Queen's Park?
Queen of the South.
Is it Queen of the South?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The fucking
Hang on, I need to VAR check this, man, because I know, obviously I know Queen of the South, but it does say here Queen of the South, Queen's Park.
I don't know if there's. I don't know if it's an abbreviation.
Oh, they're both shit either way. Like,
Villa away for Cardiff.
no, is it?
Yeah.
Villa away. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I did want a Prem team, but it's the 5th round. We're so close to a semi-final trip to Wembley. Villa away. All right. Okie dokie.
Potentially Palace, Millwall.
Preston versus Burnley. Dundee Rovers or Palace versus Millwall.
Southampton derby.
Oh my goodness. United versus Fulham. See Fulham winning that. I see. Yeah. I don't know about you, but let's leave on this last note. Now, of course, obviously, two huge wins in ruthless fashion, as Celtic do at their best. But now the big one comes up on Wednesday night. Champions League playoff round, Bayern Munich in paradise, packed out crowd. What are your thoughts going into that game?
Thoughts are, how the fuck are these cunts in a playoff? What the fuck have we got Bayern Munich in the playoff round? Now look, it's what the Champions League's about. These knockout ties. Obviously, a glamour game. Plymouth have just got fair play. But yeah, look, it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a game that everyone wants a ticket for, and it's going to be a great spectacle. And that's exactly why you're in this competition to test yourself against the best. We've got through that league stage and we've got ourselves into knockout football. It's going to be extremely difficult to get any kind of result over 2 legs. So just got to go out there and play with freedom and try and play our game in moderation while obviously respecting the opposition to a certain degree, but not just sitting back. And look, I'm still of that nostalgic era where anyone at Celtic Park, I fancy that we can go toe to toe. Obviously we've got a really good draw against Atletico Madrid. We no longer have to contend with away goals. If we concede, the ties becomes really, really difficult. So that obviously opens it up a wee bit more. So yeah, I think Bayern aren't this almighty conquering force that they have been in the past. In the Bundesliga, they've had a couple of weird results, and certainly their fans have let their voices be heard in and around that. So yeah, I'm happy that we can compete at Celtic Park. The difficult bit is that how terrible we are away from home. So, the tough bit really will be going to the Allianz and
Yeah.
trying to get a result. But at the same time, great tie, and that's why you're in it. You're not in it to beat young boys. You're in it to see the best players come to your stadium and test yourself against them. And why not? Why not?
I don't feel there'll be a sense of pressure going into that game either. I think, like you said, I think when you go the distance in the Champions League, you're bound to come up against Europe's elite clubs.
I think with Celtic there is this overarching pressure, that we haven't won a knockout game, a European knockout game for a long time. So obviously that's a big monkey on our back. We've got to this playoff round and been hit with fucking Bayern Munich. I think it was either them or Real Madrid. How you get into a playoff round and getting hit with Bayern Munich or Real Madrid?
Oh God! No, I don't know. I don't know how they worked out. I don't know if it was based on where they finished in.
It was. It was. That's what I mean. It's just down to those two teams
Yeah.
doing shit in the Champions League. And then obviously, we suffer that. But hey, it's a tie like that we go into as massive underdogs. And we just try and implement our game. The crowd, like I said, will be very hostile, hopefully, and very loud, and get behind the boys. And as long as just no stupid mistakes early doors, play our way into the game, and there's no reason then if we do that we can't have a positive impact on the tie. At least at home, I struggle to be. I really do struggle to be in any way optimistic about travelling to Germany just because we travel so poorly. But hey, stranger things have happened.
You said too much.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a huge spectacle, and by all means, like you said, you'll be out in full force. Certainly, a 12th man behind the boys, and yeah, man. Honestly, all the best on Wednesday, and yeah, fingers crossed. It's not one of those performances where you completely lie down and you ship 7, for example, like someone. Speaking of that, someone. Let's move over to the FA Cup, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
As we said, FA Cup action was this past weekend. We have the confirmed draw of the 5th round here, which I'll quickly read over. So we have Preston v Burnley. That's a shit draw, that is. Villa, Cardiff. Dundee Rovers or Palace versus Millwall. United versus Fulham. Newcastle, Brighton. Bournemouth, Wolves. Man City, Plymouth. Exeter or Forest versus Ipswich. Not a bad draw. I mean, good for us.
Yeah. I think, obviously the draws of the round, obviously on paper, you're looking at obviously City, Plymouth, looking at Villa, Cardiff, and the potential should Palace come through Doncaster Rovers without any problems tonight, like I said, of a South London derby. And I think that those derbies are always a little bit spicier when they're in the cup. So I think it's all in all a decent round. Although I did say that the 4th round was utterly dead and it
Yeah,
but anything but. So
well, they always talk about the magic of the FA Cup, don't they? Where the underdog spirit really does show.
I think that's why I think the competition is still so good. Like
I love the FA Cup. I absolutely love it.
Just that raw, you just draw teams out, no seeding, no protecting anybody. Just you will play you, off you go, and fantastic trip for the Bluebirds. Like we said, Villa Park is a stadium steeped in tradition. Birmingham's a shithole. was only there a few weeks ago. Not much to do there.
No,
Um,
not worth getting on the phone for possible tickets. Villa away.
I mean, to go to the ground and
To
enjoy
go to
it,
the
yeah.
ground, I think will be
But
it'll be a
just try and get in at 2:30 so we can go straight to the stadium. Fuck all to do there, really.
oh really? Oh, okay.
27 Chinese restaurants,
Oh okay.
and there is one called China Court, which I imagine that's probably where the triads deal out all their punishments. Who knows?
Did you go there?
Nah. Anyway,
Anyway,
so away, fourth round.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, on paper wasn't an exciting draw as we just discussed, and I can't remember the last time I had to sit through and watch Cardiff for over 120 minutes. Really can't remember the last time I had to say that. And yeah, no, a fair bit of rotation in the side. I think the most notable figure was Aaron Ramsey returning to the lineup. Got 60 minutes in, put in an okay result. Lined up alongside Sivert Mansverk, our Norwegian midfielder we got on loan from Ajax. Looked okay as well. And then there was a lot of rotation as well amongst the rest. Ethan Horvath came back in net. Will Fish in defence, and Salic leading the line, giving Robber a break. Yeah, so there was definitely a few changes. And it's nice to see now that we do have these rotationary options who are actually quite reliable for once. And I mean, of course, at one point in that game, I was thinking, this is why you fuckers don't start. But no, we started the game off really well, probably the best way possible. And Ruben Colwill opening the scoring with a really good run in from the right flank, drives inside and hits a low left-footed finish across Jack Bonham to break the deadlock.
First goal since October.
First goal since October.
Mental.
Honestly, mate, like looking at that performance from Ruben, I've been wondering where the fuck he's been since then. So yeah, no, good for his confidence. Good to see him, back in the lineup and back amongst the goals. And like I said, I think that's probably been his best performance since then, anyway. And yeah, then Joel Bagan plays a lofted ball over the top. Yusuf Salek beats his man, lifts the ball over Jack Bonham to double our lead. Second goal for the club already. Starting to like Yusuf Salek, he seems to be an alright player. Again, offers a different dynamic to what Robbo does. Very strong, physical in the air, aerial presence, but also good with his feet as well, as he's demonstrated in recent times. And then at that point, I always think this: when you take a 2-0 early lead, you have that Football Manager mentality where you're thinking, right, it's not going to end like this, is it? And
don't mention Football Manager.
no, I know, no, we can't talk about Football Manager. That's a raw topic as of late. If you know, you know. And so I couldn't really be too disappointed because Stoke then pulled one back through Welsh international Lewis Kumas, who is the son of...
Easton.
Yeah. It's a great finish as well. Makes a really good run beyond Rinomota.
I
thought.
obviously only caught the highlights, and I don't know if they showed it better as the game was live, but it looked tight as an offside call.
It did. No, I did see the replay. He is onside, but he executes such a sharp run beyond Rinomota. The ball was perfect, and he, finishes perfectly across goal. Really good finish. Went into half time 2-1. Came out in the second half, and again, can't really decide if it was clever from Stoke. They get a throw in, by the corner flag. It's a very clever dummy, and it's a very identical run that Lewis Kumas makes and takes in his stride, and he finishes hard and low beyond Horvath, and I think it's Will Fish who was on the line as well. Just manages to find that small gap in between them, and there's part of you thinking, well, could we have got a body in the way there? I'm not too sure, but we find ourselves on level terms. Go figure. Jesper Darland came on at half time and probably had 10 minutes of his professional footballing career, which he will never get back. Absolute calamitous defending, where receives the ball from Will Fish inside our 18-yard box, and he just sort of stops in his tracks, gets caught in many minds, goes to clear the ball. Instead, he takes a big chunk out of fucking Emre Tezgel to give him a penalty. And in that, manages to injure himself and gets taken off. So I was like, oh, okay, good one, Jesper. Well done. Well done. So, and, yeah, I think it's Tesco who steps up, makes it 3-2. And at this point, you're thinking, well, are we going to completely capitulate now? Is it going to be, is the hangover from the Leeds game really going to kick in again? And we're going to go and ship another 2 goals? Thankfully not. O'Dowda gets forward, gets a good shot off. Rebound falls to Ruben Colwill, gets a shot off through a flurry of bodies and gets a fortunate deflection which finds its way past Bonham to put us on level terms. And then past that, Stoke didn't do anything. I really thought we could have gone on and got a winner. Got a little bit cagey as you expected, and there was part of you thinking, oh, do we go and get a winner now, or do we see this out until penalties? It was the latter of the case, and yeah, we came out on top. Yusuf Salek hit the bar, who was the only one who missed from the spot. Stoke hit the post straight after Salek's miss, and then Horvath makes a fantastic save for the third penalty. Full stretch, rear hand, palms it out, and Ruben Colwill steps up for the final penalty and sends us into the 5th round. And I like when we have a good cup run. You always relish that adventure and how far you can go in this competition and see how you. I think it's kind of identical to Celtic in the Champions League, where you want to go against the best teams, where you don't get to play them in the league campaign. It's always something that you look forward to, and I think Villa in the next round will be a massive hill to to overcome, but I'm sure we'll absolutely relish it, and it'll be a fun tie. Just hope we don't get absolutely mauled over as we did last week against Leeds. One player I forgot to mention who came on in that Stoke game was our deadline day signing on loan, Will Alves from Leicester. I don't know if it's too soon to call it, but he looks a real player. Real good player. Very sharp on the ball, very agile, very confident taking on defenders. I think he could be highly instrumental in the rest of our campaign, and I expect him to be involved tomorrow night when we go to Fratton Park. Huge game. Massive game, and I'm pretty sure, I think with winning, coming out on top against Stoke, will bring a massive lift to the squad, and in terms of morale, be a big positive buzz around the boys, and that will hopefully we can bring that into that game tomorrow night and get us a much needed result to just get us out of that fucking dogfight. It is so I know we're in an okay position right now, but one bad result can completely change that, and you're back down in the bottom 3. So yeah, huge game. Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be a big following going down there as well.
Yeah,
coming off the back of obviously that performance at Stoke, and getting a result. Like you said, absolutely vital game. Is it tomorrow night? Is it
tomorrow night?
Yeah, must not lose.
Absolutely not.
Look, a draw isn't the end of the world. Obviously, 3 points is 100% the thing that we want, but it is an absolute do not lose, do not drag yourself back in. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be a couple of people that the gaffer's got to think about in terms of that performance at Stoke, as to does that warrant him coming in, or does he revert back to type for the game at Fratton Park? But yeah, great position to be in. Not a position that you've been in, much this season, where you're coming off a real springboard result, kind of like Sheffield United, where you'd rotated, and then obviously you come into a big fixture and played extremely well and got a really good result. So hopefully, history repeats itself, because 3 points against Portsmouth at this point in the season is huge.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be a massive selection headache for Reza, I could imagine, in terms of personnel. Like, I thought Chris Willock had a good game. Does he keep him in the side, or does he revert back to Kean Ashford? Does he put? Obviously, I'd imagine he would put Robbo back in for Salek, and Salek will drop to the bench. Will Alves as well, who would make a strong. I'm sure he will start based on in terms of the loan agreement with Leicester, where he has to play, a majority of the matches up until the end of the season. Rubin throws himself in the mix there as well, getting 2 goals at Stoke. I'm sure he'll definitely be someone who will be thought about. But that's what I mean. It's a good headache to have because But with these cup games, when you do tend to rotate, it's always good that you got these individuals who come into the side who are dying to get into playing week in, week out, and I definitely think there were a few individuals on Saturday that made a strong claim. And so, like I said, I really hope when we go in tomorrow night, it'll be a strong squad regardless. Don't think Rambo is quite ready yet to start in that midfield. I'm still my heart is pretty sold on Robertson and probably Mansverk or Ralsey. But of course Ramsey's still a huge individual for us. If it's not on the pitch, it's off the pitch. So yeah, I think we're in quite a good place now. I think we've recovered from last week, and yeah, it's a huge month for us now. Portsmouth, Hull, Plymouth. They're going to be huge games for us, and we've got to take every opportunity as it comes before March hits, when we play all of the top 6 essentially.
Yeah, 100%. We identified before, what a massive month this was going to be, and you've started off in the absolute right way by getting a positive result in the FA Cup that's scored you a trip to Villa Park, and you just hope that doesn't. I'm sure it won't, because Cardiff have been in the Prem in recent history, so hopefully there isn't too many eyes looking towards that cup tie, and it doesn't affect any kind of league form. But I'm sure Marisa will be all over that, and understanding that the absolute most important thing is the championship.
That's the priority. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. No, yeah, championship security is our main objective right now. But if it comes along with a FA Cup adventure, I'm all here for it. The Bluebirds are flying all the way to footy heaven. We're going to win the cup like in 1927. I don't think you got that far in that song, because there's a part in that song that I absolutely love. It's like, and to spare a quick thought for Cardiff City captain Darren Purse, you can't get quite in the side lately because you've got a bit of a lady's name. Absolute classic. Any reason to bring that out whenever we win an FA Cup game. Love it, absolutely love it. Well, why don't we cover over some of the other FA Cup fixtures that we had this past weekend? And of course, you know what I'm going to turn to. It was the second biggest upset.
Aberdeen winning.
Oh, third? I don't know. Yes, Plymouth, Liverpool.
Yeah.
I mean, I only caught the highlights. I know you said you watched. I don't know, the majority of the game.
Yeah, well, we watched. Like I said, it was a little bit of Six Nations being taken in. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't.
Oh yeah. Honestly, you exclude Six Nations. I had a wonderful weekend. It was really nice.
Yeah, we flicked over for the sort of the back end of the second half, where Plymouth were already one up, and you kind of see Liverpool clicking into gear a little bit and getting a bit scrappy, and a couple of really good saves from Hazard, who was obviously an ex-Celtic goalkeeper.
Oh, the one in added time though, crucial.
Yeah, that one, the header, and obviously the volley from Diego Jota as well.
Yeah. We certainly didn't need VAR for that handball though, for sure.
No, that was
as blatant as they come.
Yeah. But yeah, look, like you said, the magic of the cup, and it seems to, no matter what season's happening or who it is, anyone can fall foul to it. And this is a Liverpool team that have been all conquering in the Champions League, all conquering domestically in the League Cup as they sit in the final, and in the Premier League as well, and they've gone out to little old plucky Plymouth. And
Home Park.
Yeah, It's just great, and you love those kind of results. And again, they're rewarded with a glamour trip to the Etihad, where they'll make a load of money um, off the gate receipts, and they'll have a fantastic day out, and we'll all get a vlog from Pie Face, so we'll all be able
Oh,
to enjoy it secondhand through the benefit of YouTube.
you know what? Absolutely love Pie Face, and you've got to respect that. He goes all over the country to follow the Green Army.
Yeah, it's a great. There's so many of those fans, up and down the land that love their local team and follow them, and um, yeah, it's great. A generational result, I'm sure, for Plymouth, and one that they'll tell their grandkids about. Because it's looking very likely that that's going to be the team that wins the Premier League, and they beat them in the FA Cup. So yeah, it was really special. And they go again. Could they do it again? Knocked out Brentford, knocked out Liverpool. Could they?
Oh, maybe they could do the Barnsley run like in 2008 when they knocked Liverpool and Chelsea out and then lost to the Shagging Bluebirds in the semi-final at Wembley. Come on. Who knows? Who knows? But no, massive tie for Plymouth. I'm a little bit, again, I'm a bit conflicted with them at the moment because I don't want them to be winning at the moment in case it does give them good momentum going forward and they end up catching us in the Championship perhaps. But I think that it was a huge result against Liverpool to topple the Premier League leaders.
Yeah, I think with that, I don't know. Obviously, they're great, but for the way that the bubble will now surround that club, and how much they'll be looking towards that City game. Again, I don't know if that'll be a healthy distraction for them or whether it'll be something that will actually end up tampering with their league form. I guess it could do either, or we'll not know until we see him in league action. But it could end up being a real big benefit, as a lot of people have eyes on playing at the Etihad, playing against you know Champions League winners. It's an incredible feat that um, City have managed to accomplish over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been fantastic. So yeah, going up against Pep, I'm sure they're all relishing it, and yeah, fair play to him. And like I said before, the games are fantastic. Orient were really good against City. A fantastic goal, kind of hit the bar.
It was, you know what? It looked good in writing for sure,
Yeah.
and then you watch it again, and you're like,
Mm.
go on the Orient.
Um. And yeah, that Birmingham Newcastle game was really competitive
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
But
really good game.
um, although I'm really glad Newcastle won it, because everywhere I looked there was just tons everywhere. So how are the lads?
We are lads. I've just had my Man City friend message me, and because we were really hoping it would be Cardiff making the trip to the Etihad because he's actually going to Manchester in 2 weeks' time, and so it was like, oh, that falls on the FA Cup weekend. Could I come along, maybe?
Hmm.
Nah, not the case. He's not happy that we pulled Villa, but he's he's obviously being sarcastic. City home to the mighty Plymouth. They are mighty, mate.
Oh, Green Army.
Green Army. Money I spend on petrol, we could have bought it more than Nostril Boy. Well, you know what? Another tie that I actually wanted to talk about. Obviously, Villa knocking out Spurs. Ange, I'm really surprised, has not had a scrap with any of the fucking journalists yet. That guy looks like he's about to fucking lose the plot completely.
I think he's about to lose his job.
Yeah.
I'm amazed, really, that we're here, on Monday, and Spurs aren't looking for another manager. I don't. I don't know if it's a situation that's surrounding the football club, in the fact there is so many injuries and no one will want to come in and take on that mantra. I don't know if they're going all in and they're waiting for those players to come back and they're prioritising the Europa League and they think that keeping a consistent face and a consistent message is the best way to potentially um, get that across. But even if he wins the Europa League, I can't see how he stays on at the end of the season.
Just hasn't been a good campaign. Full stop. I know, the injuries haven't been in their favour,
Yeah, look,
but
they've lost key players. There's no doubt.
yeah,
Udogi and Van Veen and Romero. The goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's a real problem. A real problem. The young boy they've got in that Kinski or whatever.
yeah,
He looks petrified. I mean, he's a young boy. I did feel sorry for him at Villa when he made that mistake a minute in. He actually made a couple of really good saves as well. Um, but to lose Vicario, to have the injuries that they've got, but they just don't. It doesn't look like it's connecting upfield. And let's be honest, right? Yes, okay, maybe you would play Dominic Solanke, but if you've got Son on the left, Kulusevski playing, you've got this fucking turncoat tell that's turned up from Bayern that clearly you're going to utilise in the first team. You've still got a strong base to go and play off there. I know they were playing Mikey Moore out on the right, but you could easily play Kulusevski there. You've got Basuma that's coming off the bench. You've got Sarr that's coming off. I don't know if Bentancur was certainly playing in the semi-final against Liverpool when they were atrocious. I don't know if he was playing against Villa. There's enough there to say, right, yes, your defence is extremely hampered, but your midfield and your forward line, right, there's enough there. And Son should score. Emi Martinez makes a good save, but I still think it's a really, really bad miss. And clearly, they're lacking in massive confidence. But I think they should be doing a lot better than what they're doing.
yeah. I think they've just been been too poor domestically.
Yeah, I think they're just caught in this rut now where they know the season is over. They're not going to do anything in the Premier League. They've crashed out of a semi-final after playing horrifically at Anfield. And everything is on the Europa League, but you're talking about a team that went to Ibrox and couldn't do what Queen of the South did on the weekend. And so, um, there's levels to this game.
Yeah,
And look, I love Ange. I love him for his time at Celtic. I love that he wears his heart on his sleeve and the emotion that pours out. But yeah, he looks a little bit out of control at the moment. He looks a little bit unhinged. Spurs are certainly out of control. And
yeah,
you just don't see where their next points are going to come from. Winning away at Brentford was a massive shock. Like
yeah. It was a huge shock.
no one saw that coming. And you just kind of you fear that you don't really know where their next points are going to come from.
No,
Will they go down? No, of course not.
no, no.
But I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him winning the Europa League either, to be honest. So, um, yeah, it's a tough one. He'll have to pick himself and dust himself off, and take a lot of criticism on the chin once it's all said and done with Ange Postecoglou. But I also think Daniel Levy is a very tactical businessman, and I'm sure that he knows that there is no one of any kind of merit that wants to walk into Tottenham Hotspur at the moment and take on the job with the amount of injuries that they have. So Postecoglou will remain, I think, till the end of the season, but absolutely no doubt that they will be interviewing potential candidates to take over from him in the summer.
Yeah. Well, if we went back to, I think it was 2 weeks ago, you'd said yourself, perhaps Ange goes if they were to lose the semi-final to Liverpool. They're out of that now, and do you feel maybe, just maybe, if they crash out the Europa League, enough is enough, and Levy bites the bullet?
Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised he hasn't and just said
Yeah.
to Ryan Mason, you can see out the rest of the season. Why they scout about and look for potential replacements. But no, one, who do you bring in?
Yeah.
Who is even a feasible name that you can say, yeah, that would be a good appointment. Um, and two, then how do you entice that name into that football club? Because there's no pedigree of winning. There's no history really of being backed. You only got to look at Pochettino getting to a Champions League final, and then them not backing him and investing.
Exactly. And then you had Mourinho after that, then it was Conte, and now we got Ange.
So yeah, and like I said, Ange Postecoglou was only the manager at Tottenham because of so many other people didn't want the job. So even if you're thinking, oh, Leverkusen aren't doing what they were doing last season, could you go and have a chat with Xabi Alonso? He's not going to want that job.
Nah, absolutely not.
So where do you go? You've seen obviously um, your man that is at Chelsea now. I forget his name.
Maresca.
Maresca. Yep. You've seen Chelsea bring him up from Leicester and him do okay. Um, so who is there? Like I honestly can't think of someone that would take the job to the point of where I think if they went to Ipswich,
I was just thinking Kieran McKenna.
I said to Kieran McKenna, "Are you interested?" I think he would say no.
Mm.
You're at Ipswich. You're at a stable football club. The chairman trusts you. Massive backing, massive community, feel good factor. Does he want to leave all of that to go to Tottenham? And obviously, massive stadium, much more Premier League pedigree. But how long is he going to be in that job for? And
Yeah.
these jobs don't come up all the time. I get that, and you have to pick and move smartly in your managerial career. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that would be regarded as smart. I think Almiron is the shining light of that. When he was at a really successful sporting team, he's come to United, and
Mm.
he must be thinking every weekend, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I honestly don't see any kind of feasible name that
No.
you could put out there that would interest.
Daniel Levy, if you're listening, hands off Omariza, by the way.
um, yeah, I honestly, I'm trying to think of.
It's almost identical to the United job, though, isn't it? Where it just feels like whoever is coming through the door, they have been backed and the recruitment's been utterly poor, or it's the sense in Tottenham where they just haven't been backed full stop, and ultimately it comes down to, it just completely derails a manager's profile.
Yeah, I think that's the worry. So any up and coming person that's building like a Xabi Alonso, they don't want to go there and have their career destroyed.
Yeah.
So who do you pick up? Who is going to take that risk? Like I don't see many, to be honest.
No, absolutely
Um,
not. It mostly, yeah. I could probably, if it was to prevail, which I'm slightly confident that it will inevitably will happen, they will probably have to go down to the Championship and look
yeah,
at someone.
even down there, like
Because
who's
who have
got
you got down there? So obviously you got Daniel Farke at Leeds, Scott
that would
Parker
be
at Burnley, Chris Wilder at Sheffield United. He won't go though.
yeah.
Um,
I
who's
don't think they're going to take
who's the Sunderland boss again? Lebris.
a name that I have seen batted about is Michael Carrick because obviously
Yeah,
there's the connection there.
yeah, of course, yeah.
Um, I just again, no, I don't know. He's an up and coming manager. He's built up a really good reputation at Borough, and they're having a decent season again after his first season there, and then obviously a fall off in his second. I don't know. It's difficult. It is. I mean, look at the projection of Frank Lampard. After his time at Derby, and then going up to Chelsea, and almost having to then come back down after. Okay, he got the Everton job and was moderately successful in keeping him up, and then never really kicked on. But is that the kind of pathway that Carrick wants to plot? I don't know, but I've seen that name batted about, but I can't really think of anyone else. Is Poch available? Is he out there now? I don't know.
He
What
manages the national team.
USA,
Yeah, the
yeah.
USA. Good
Forgot he
job,
went
isn't he?
there.
Yeah.
So no, he's not available.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I
Yeah.
mean,
They're fucked. They're absolutely fucked.
you're even getting top managers being swallowed up by international gigs now. Like that never used to happen, really. I mean, you got Thomas Tuchel obviously at England. Like it's strange. Get on the phone, Jurgen. What you doing?
Maybe what we could do, we could possibly no, actually no, because we can't talk about Football Manager. Too raw, too raw, too raw. Can't do it. Can't do it.
That yeah, that's
Just do FM editor, Invincible season, quadruple, whack it on our CV and send it into Daniel Levy and hope for the best.
we could have a chance.
We could, if no one else wants it.
Well, no, let's veer slightly off, and this may not be obviously what a lot of people come here for, but it also might be relevant to a lot of people. Um, Obviously, away from the real world of football, it was announced that Football Manager 25 has been cancelled after multiple delays and missing deadlines that they set themselves to reveal gameplay trailer and ultimately then dropping the news at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've seen a lot of opinions on it. Um, how are you feeling about it all? Obviously, you streamed the game for a long time and have logged a lot of hours on FM24. And I've played Football Manager now for a long, long time. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're more the veteran out of us two now.
yeah, I think
Because if we go back, I mean, God, I remember staying at yours for an entire week during half term, and we'd just do a Cardiff save. I think there was even one time we attempted a Plymouth Exeter co-op save as well,
yeah.
where again I went 2-0 up and go figure. You came out on top, but my thoughts on it, I saw it coming. I think if you pushed the release date back not once but twice, you could see waiting in the wings, the time schedule was going to be against them. And you get to a point in the football season where you just think, is there any point now? Just provide a big update for FM24, which I think they did. I haven't touched FM24 in a couple of months now, but
No, they've revealed there isn't going to be a data update for FM24.
there isn't. Okay,
Yeah.
but no,
I don't think that's people are really grumbling about that, but
it doesn't bother me at all, to be honest.
The mods and the databases that
Yeah,
are there,
exactly. Yeah, they exist, and they still make the game enjoyable. But no, I think as soon as they pushed it back the second time, I kind of accepted in my mind that it's not going to happen this year. It really isn't, and that's probably come to. I think they just set the bar too high for themselves. I think they tried to change too much in such small time. I mean, because they got to do this. They got to do this on a year cycle, and they wanted to change.
This is the problem. They've been working on this game for 6 years.
Okay, yeah.
But they were employing people back in 2018, 2019 to then start to build the game to be represented on Unity.
Yeah.
This has been a long time in the making.
Yeah.
Which is why the generic sorry we could only reveal it at this point in time and the radio silence that we've had just isn't kind of cutting it for me. And I would like someone, whether it be Miles or someone that represents SI, to come out and just really let us know what was failing then.
Yeah. It's actually give specifics in terms of what was it that was not up to your standards.
Was it the match engine? Was it the Was it the interface? Was the game just really buggy? Because there is a version of FM25 that exists because there was playtesting
Yeah,
to it
yeah, yeah, there is, yeah.
somewhere. Although it'll be lost to the ether, so anyone that has that on a fucking pen drive is going to be worth God knows how much in about 25 years' time. The unreleased
Can you imagine?
version
You know,
of,
might be worth picking up now. You know,
of Football Manager. Um, so yeah, look, I'm disappointed at the lack of accountability.
yeah,
I'm disappointed at obviously look. The old saying is obviously foul to prepare, prepare to foul, and clearly you failed to prepare
yeah.
correctly for the overhaul that you believed, and that was with reducing a lot, taking away international management and all this, and
There was big speculation that they removed like network mode as well, which
oh,
would have been fucking. I thought, when as soon as I saw that, it was just no. You can't do that. You really
they've
can't.
taken shouts out, so there's no more shouts on that
No more
touchline
show.
shouts.
Well, they
Um,
even came out and said they don't even fucking do sod all in the game anyway.
I don't know. See, when I encourage my players, they perform.
That's what
Uh,
I say. Yeah.
um,
Don't take that away from me.
I know. Although all I ever use is encourage and demand more. Any psychopath that clicks any other button, fair play to you.
There is one
Um,
button I do press though. I do press it, and it's only if I'm 3-0 up and the opposition pull one back, then I'll praise them. Because if you encourage them, it actually
oh yeah,
derails their morale.
I drop a little bit of praise if we're very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
rarely. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, three buttons. Anything else, psychopath.
I don't even know what the other ones are, if I'm honest. Was it
So
calm down and
yeah,
I don't
something
know.
like
Yeah, yeah. Ones that no one actually touches. They may, remove those ones, but just keep those free.
that. Yeah,
Simple as that.
but yeah, in any other walk of life, if you failed on this level, you'd be expected to explain it. You'd be expected to give some kind of clarity and not just a generic statement that has been, edited and checked over so many times and then dropped,
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning because that's when Sega's fucking share
It's
meeting or
just
whatever.
you know what? Even just looking in your game library as well, like seeing all the football managers, and it goes from FM24 to FM26. That just stands out to me like a fucking sore thumb in itself.
The pressure now ramps up massively
Yeah,
on
hundred
the
percent.
game.
Yeah,
Um, it really has to deliver. Are we going to be waiting until November? Or are they going to try and release it earlier and be more in line with the football season? Because they're saying that we're close, but just not there yet. So are they close and they have the finished? If they have the finished product and say June, August
give us
10th.
an earlier release.
What you're up against then. I know they're always worried about going up against FIFA releasing in late September. If you release in August, that gives you a full month. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's really disappointing. I'd like to see some accountability and some explanation and a forecast on what to expect. But
Yeah,
again, I think
absolutely.
if they drop the forecast, I don't think anyone really trusts that they're going to stick to it because obviously they missed their own deadline. But yeah, it's obviously sad because of the upgrades that were promised.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, bring on FM26, I say. But we're going to have to wrap things up. I've seen the time. I am definitely going to get my head ripped off from my lovely fiance, who I promised to finish at 9 on the dot, and it's 4 minutes past. But the magic of the FA Cup strikes again. Up Queen of the South, Queen's Park, wherever you are. No silverware for Rangers this year. And the Champions League awaits the boys in green once again. Mayhem, best of luck on Wednesday again. Thank you very much for this evening for what has been a very entertaining episode, and I can't wait to listen back to it, man. Bring on next week. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for joining and tuning in. If you are new to the Football Booth podcast, we're available on all audio platforms including Spotify, Apple and Audible. If you're watching us over YouTube, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and Nastar.